just beat the heck out of Hoffenheim.
And we will, and I will show you why.
Oh, you tell us why. Nein, doch. Oh.
But I think we can clap ourselves on our backs because we always believed in Marco. Marco from Taucher. Yeah, that's right.
Hey, but we also believed in Timo Werner, so I'm not sure.
Well.
Good evening and welcome to RB Global Tracks, Leipzig's fresh RB Leipzig podcast in English, brought to you by Richard and Mario. And amongst us, we are, still season ticket holders, passionate supporters, and not very neutral local pundits. Both of us have been following Leipzig football since our childhood days. So, if you want to hear about RB Leipzig, capture the mood of the fans in the city, and if you want to go beyond numbers and statistics, you are in the right place. We're delighted to welcome you on board. Let's go. Auf geht's, Leipziger Jungs. Good evening, Richard. How the devil are you?
Good evening, Mario. Thank you. I'm fine. Sitting on my balcony. So it's my first ever recording outside. So if you're listening maybe to some birds or horns from emergency vehicles, it's because I'm outside.
You just spoiled it. Nature is out there, birds are singing, the sun is descending. I got my Red Bull and my beer here, click. Neighbors are smoking and the sirens are going of the emergency vehicles because we live in a peaceful area. Thank you.
Thank you. And if I bend my hips far enough over the bar, I can see the Red Bull Arena actually. Cool.
Ooh, I just need to step out my terrace and look straight ahead, and far, far away, there is the Zentralstadion, the old one. Nice area.
Beautiful.
So, Richard, what are we going to talk about tonight?
Yeah, of course, we want to take a look back into this beautiful game we saw Saturday afternoon versus the Bumblebees.
Yeah.
Then we want to talk about a little bit about exciting news around the club. So the promotion tour in the US, and we already are qualified for Champions League. Cool. Mm. And of course, we are looking forward to our next clash at the TSG 1899 Hoffenheim El Plastico.
Lots of tradition since 1899, I'll tell you. Okay, let's go. It was a beautiful Saturday afternoon, sunny, warm, a full stadium, really a full stadium. There were hardly any gaps to spot. And everybody was in a very good mood. We had a full away section of supporters, but those supporters are not the active on the ultra scene. So these are more the quiet supporters, the unorganized ones. But we'll talk about them later. So let's have a look why that day gave us a lot of joy, but also an uneasy feeling. So everything was set up, packed stadium, crowd was celebrating, partying as usual. Not disturbed by the Borussia Dortmund fans. Teams were warming up, and I noticed that Borussia Dortmund seemed to be extremely focused. And anyone who was wanting to take a shot at their goal, well, actually scored. So I was kind of wondering and slightly concerned about the game. But hey, it hadn't even started, and it was just a warm-up session. And it was about that at that time that I realized that Pete Gulaschi would earn his 300th cap in the RBL shirt. What a momentous occasion for him at a game like this. It's quite unbelievable where the time is gone since he started with RB Leipzig. Very well done. And we would actually see during the match how important he is. Also, Yusuf Paus made it back into the squad, not into the starting 11. And there was only one change compared to the starting 11 of the week before, and that's the introduction of Mosi Macon, who was playing in lieu of Benny Henrich. So everything was set up for a beautiful start, and the start was very lively. I must say I really enjoyed it. Also, our section in the Sector D was a lot of times not so animated and maybe a little bit quiet at the beginnings. It was really animated, and I think we also have a little hardcore ultra fans group who were kind of responding to insults coming from the Borussia Dortmund section. And the Borussia Dortmund section, I mean, It's getting boring. The Alle Bullen sind Schweine chant is just very boring. Nothing much more we could hear from them. And that was okay. They were a nice piece of decoration. Nothing more and nothing less. So, as I said, the beginning was extremely lively with, the clearer chances on the Borussia Dortmund side. They had 3 clear chances. And Pete Gulaschi had to produce 2 monster saves to deny Füllkrug and Julius Brandt. But he couldn't do anything really about Jadon Sancho's leading go-ahead score. I think it was the 10th minute. It was a beautiful shot. And as soon as that ball left his foot, I was just yelling, no. And, well, lo and behold, the ball hit the back of the net. Beautiful strike, well-deserved. But I was not pessimistic about the game because there was a lot of time left and RB Leipzig created some chances as well, or they were denied. But I think there was enough time to correct the score. And a couple of minutes later, there was a beautiful cross by Xavi Simons, similar to what we've seen back in October 2023 when Cologne was thrashed 6-0 at Leipzig. He produced similar assists and cross by that. And Goalbender actually scored. Of course, on the sideline, the flag was up. So the joy was not really there, but at least the VAR would review it. So I thought that was positive. On the other hand, I thought, well, if VAR is reviewing it, it's probably not going to score. But my neighbor actually said, the guy who sat next to me has been doing this for years. And he actually said, well, to be honest, the purpose of the VAR is to overturn the ruling on the field. And he was right. And that produced that beautiful moment of, nein, doch, oh. So this allowed us to celebrate another goal by Goalbender, number 24 of the season. Unbelievable. And I must admit that my neighbor was right a couple of moments later, because referee Eitekin awarded a penalty to RB Leipzig, because Olmo went down in the penalty box. Unfortunately, the VAR had another look at it, and the ruling on the field was overturned. And the referee Eitekin actually went on to explain the situation after the match, saying that he actually requested the VAR to step in more often due to the fact that in these games, in the final part of the season, a lot is at stake, and he does not want to get anything wrong. Fair play, I must say, fair play. And as the match continued, I was really surprised how little reaction there was from the Borussia Dortmund squad. And I know, Richard, you actually mentioned in the last episode that Marius Wolf and Özcan will be the weak points in the Borussia Dortmund squad. And as the game went on, I must tell you, you were right, because they were not the best in the squad, so they were subsequently substituted as well. But also Adeyemi didn't have a good day either. Bit disappointed about his performance as well. But quite frankly, I didn't care. I was really impressed by RB Leipzig squad, I must say. The midfield access with Schlager, Heiner, Haidara. Haidara was strong on Saturday as well. Really worked like a treat. It was really solid the way they played. And I also think by looking at the reviews after the match, various reviews and listening to other podcasts, Dani Olmo didn't get enough praise because for me, he was one of the 4 magicians on the pitch. He was the one who set up the chances and created them. And before others could actually provide the assists, he was able to provide them with the pre-assist to the assist, so to speak. A lot of respect for him. He played really well. And plus, he showed up in that important game. He was not one of those players who usually are very strong, and especially maybe strong in games against opponents who are not as strong as Borussia Dortmund. No, he showed up and he made sure that everybody else was performing on the top-notch level as well. And yeah, Xavi Simons, nothing more to say. The guy, you can't stop the guy. You know, even if you think you fouled him, he is still there, produces something magical with the ball. Goalbender scored, and whoa. What a great goal we could see just 2 minutes into stoppage time from the first half. Nice corner taken by David Raum. It was cleared by the Borussia Dortmund side, but Adeyemi cleared it outside, or he was still inside his own box, but too short because Schlager took a brilliant shot from outside the box. Monster save by the Dortmund goalie Kobel to the, from my view, left-hand side, and who approached with long legs and steps and hammered that ball under the bar? Mr. Šeško. Oh, we loved it. So we went into halftime with a lot of smiles. Borussia Dortmund fans were really quiet, but that's fine. You know, you hardly noticed them apart from the fact that there were different shirts, you know. Besides that, during halftime I noticed that Marco Reus was warming up. He came out very quickly, so I was really looking forward to him being added to the Borussia Dortmund squad to restart Borussia Dortmund's games. And yes, he did join the squad, but he wasn't a major factor. It, as we all know, it didn't do much for the game. It didn't do much for Borussia Dortmund. Instead, RB Leipzig scored again right after halftime, 46th minute. Mo Simakan. Beautiful tap in after the ball was crossed from goaltender. So 3-1 up. Surely Borussia Dortmund couldn't come back from that. Although you always had a feeling, yeah, it could happen. But this time, Borussia Dortmund didn't prove the quality, the determination. We did think back of the Atletico Madrid game where they did come back from being behind, but not this time. No chance. Whatever they tried, change of formation, change of tactics, it didn't work. RB Leipzig was just better. It was not that Borussia Dortmund had less of ball possession. They did have more of the ball, but they didn't know what to do with it. Leipzig really always dangerous on the counterattack. Yeah, unfortunately, Mo Simakan got injured, substituted for, Benny Henrichs came on the pitch. And to be honest, Benny Henrichs had a beautiful game as well. Very effective, very strong as well. And in the, I think it was 82nd minute, he did provide the assist to Baumgartner, who closed the game and put Leipzig up by 4. 4-1, the final score. To be honest, and Borussia Dortmund didn't produce much in the second half. There was maybe one chance which was cleared again by Pete the Wall, who had a beautiful game in his 300 cap. But in the end, it was time to celebrate. So a beautiful 4-1 win over the Bumblebees, and definitely international football at Leipzig next year. Leipzig International, so to speak. A lot of joy. And if you look at the team, the way they performed, well, I think we benefit that we have no injured players. We have a smaller squad, but nobody's injured. And if you remember the last few years, it was always very tight getting this top 4 spot. It was very tight and a lot more to play for because we were still in the National Cup competition. This year, it's only the league. And I must admit, I do miss that trip to Berlin in May, June, but hey, maybe next time. So everybody's concentrating on the league. We have, as I said, a squad which is there. The starting 11 is there on a regular basis. Little changes. They perform really well. And it seems like we have a really well-oiled machine. Everything is falling into place. All the puzzles come together. Marco Rose's grand plan is coming together, and bear in mind we had this huge transition this summer. We let go a couple of main players in the winter as well, Emil, Timo, just to mention the two, and still we are ending up in the top 4 spot. We are qualified for the Champions League. We will be qualified for the Champions League, and we're watching really entertaining game. So cause for joy, a joyful feeling, but at the same time, I can't help myself of noticing that uneasy feeling creeping in. And that is because, 3 more games this season. The season's going to end soon. And if you look at the media, already people are talking about key players needing to leave RB Leipzig. And just remember a couple of months back, Rowan Schroeder did this interview that RB Leipzig also needs to sell key players. You may remember one of our episodes where Richard actually explained that maybe the 60 million price tag for Danny Olmo is already budgeted in for next year, so he has to go. That is the uneasy feeling. The uneasy feeling is let's enjoy it as long as it lasts, but there will be a transition, although a lot of people do point out that this transition might not be as big. But finally, in the last 5-6 games, the whole thing comes together. The squad is performing really well. They show up in these big games versus Borussia Dortmund, for example. And I'm sure if they had played, if they were to play Bayern Munich now or Bayer Leverkusen and even VfB Stuttgart, we would look really good. And, you know, one of them we would actually beat, at least at home. So that's the uneasy feeling that's creeping in. And surely in the coming months, we will hear about it and we'll talk about it a lot more. My advice is keep enjoying it as long as it lasts. And that's why we really enjoyed this match. And I just want to talk a little bit more about the feeling we all had after the match or the atmosphere. Now, RB Leipzig usually holds home matches with a crowd that is really relaxed. And although we got insulted and we got the abuse by the Borussia Dortmund fans whenever they decided to make some noise, that's what we heard, alle Bullen sind Schweine. It's really boring. So they do refer to Red Bull being a really bad thing. But a lot of Borussia Dortmund supporters were sitting in their yellow and black shirts amongst RB Leipzig supporters, and nothing happened. You know, they were just watching football. They were just there for the football game. And we can move around freely. We have freedom of movement in our stadium, apart from the away supporter section. So everybody would mingle with BVB supporters or RBL supporters. And as we left the stadium through the main entrance onto the field in front of the stadium, were actually some little beer gardens actually built up, and there's of course you can get beer, you can use your German sausages. If you ever come here, you have to have a Bratwurst, because that is, you know, the typical cliche German sausage. Plus the beer is on tap as well. It's really nice beer. Anyway, and everybody was walking around there with Borussia Dortmund fans and RB Leipzig fans alike, and everything was very peaceful, very relaxed. It was like a party atmosphere, and I think that's the way it should be. I don't want those ultra scenes and violent scenes. You know, I want occasions like this where you can take your family, you can take your kids, and everybody's behaving. Apart, well, you can hurl insults, verbal insults against each other. That's not a problem. Have a little bit of banter. That's okay. But as long as there's no violence, no actions, I'm actually fine with it. So that's what I noticed as we left the stadium. But one more thing I did notice as well, and that made me giggle a little bit, because as I mentioned before, BVB supporters do not support the Red Bull products and the Red Bull construct, that artificially company-owned football club of RB Leipzig, and that, you know, that one that beat them on Saturday. So they always refer to Red Bull is scheiße, so Red Bull is not very good. But as people were walking around handing out free cans of Red Bull, guess who was there? A lot of Borussia Dortmund supporters. They grabbed the cans, opened them up, and pulled that stuff down their throat. And you know what? That was a joyful feeling for them. They loved it. I thought that was really amusing. Double standards. That's all I'm saying. Double standards. If you don't support the Red Bull construct, and if you don't like Red Bull, then you should change your tune. Anyways, very nice afternoon. A great team, a well-oiled machine. Whatever happens in the summer will happen in the summer. Until then, let's just enjoy the show. Over to you, Richard.
Thank you, Mario. That was really entertaining and a lot of details. It's good always to know someone who is in the stadium and can share some views from the stands and around the stadium. Thank you very much. Because we talked about it, I didn't attend the game, unfortunately, but next year I will be there versus the guys in black and yellow. So,
well, we take turns. That's fair enough. It's good.
Yeah. So we teased it. Next topic tonight. RB Leipzig is going on a promotion tour in the United States of America this summer for the very first time. I'm looking forward to it. I think it's an important step to
global domination.
To promote the brand,
Oh,
okay. To show the people in the United States, okay, there's another club with these 2 balls. Okay, what is that? Or RB Leipzig, man, that's cool. And maybe this will generate some more listeners. That would be nice, wouldn't it?
I mean, we really thank RB Leipzig for that.
Thank you, RB Leipzig, for promoting our little podcast.
We're so grateful.
Thank you. And one game is scheduled up to now. It's versus Aston Villa in Red Bull Arena, Harrisford, New Jersey. I think it's in the in European time, 2:00 in the middle of the night.
Okay.
August 1st or July 31st. Don't know exactly. Yeah, it's 31st of July, 8 p.m. local time.
Perfect.
And perfect. So everyone around there, let's go. Go there, go visiting the Red Bulls from Leipzig, and maybe we will see a guest player, a blonde Swedish guy with number 10.
We retired the number 10 because that Swedish guy left us in the winter. So he could easily fit in again, couldn't he? Just for half, maybe 45 minutes, Yeah,
just to show what he's capable of still.
What we're missing, I know. Great. So we're always looking forward to that. It's a beautiful thing, and it just shows the club is developing further. Brilliant.
Yeah, and what will help us to develop into a great club one day is that we are now qualified for the 6th time in a row for the UEFA Champions League.
It's incredible.
It's incredible, and you may not have recognized, so around the world, this happened because not we beat Dortmund last Saturday, but because Dortmund just beat PSG in the semi-final in the UCL most recently yesterday night, 1-0, and because of this event in the UEFA coefficient ranking, Germany, the German association and the clubs, is ranked 2nd place and cannot be overtaken by either France or the clubs from the Royal Islands, as you say so often, from England. And so the first 2 associations in this ranking are rewarded with another eligible team in next year's UEFA Champions League. So the 5th place of the Bundesliga will be participant of the reorganized UEFA Champions League. We maybe talk about this in a later episode this season or next season. And so we already at least 5th place at the end of the season, and that means we are qualified. Hey, I'm really glad, and to be honest, I'm really looking forward for this new format, in which the next season UEFA Champions League will take place, because the current system is quite okay. It's well established, it works well, but it's like, I don't know, 15 or 20 years old, and why not trying something new? And this league system looks really promising, and it's 2 more games to play, which is, I think, nice as well. And this is because I'm really, really looking forward of this new UEFA Champions League season, and I'm very glad we are part of it again.
I think it's important to qualify for that stage in the first year when they set it up with more games and more funds to be spread over all the clubs. And we will see in terms of sporting terms, if we were able to qualify for the knockout stages. I must admit, I have to get used to it. I do like the fact that you do have 8 different opponents in the beginning, although, you're either playing them at home or away. That's going to make it very interesting. It's going to be weird to look at a table with 36 clubs scrolling up and down. Hopefully, we don't have to scroll that much down. And it's very interesting that afterwards there's sort of like a playoff, like a pre-playoff competition. That's what we're sort of used by ice hockey games, basketball games. So it'll be interesting to see. It's just, well, more games, just 2 more games. That's not too much. More money to be spread, more money to go around. Let's see what happens. But it was vital and paramount that RB Leipzig qualified. What does it mean in terms of squad for next year? I think there'll be months ahead of speculation and discussions, and we shouldn't enter in those right now. As I said before, let's just enjoy the show. Cool. Hey,
enjoy the show. Yeah, next show is waiting for us tomorrow night, 8:30 local time, Hoffenheim Stadium.
Introducing our next opponent, their Igor check.
Pre-zero arena.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah,
can I ask you a question? Now, since we're qualified, are you still looking forward to that match? Does it feel like there's a lot on the line, or is it a bit like we're going now to Sommerfußball? It's like the thing is fiddling out a little bit.
Well, no, I don't expect that, because there's still something when we can finish in third place. Okay.
Yeah,
so
but
this
is that so important?
Something to gain. Okay. Yeah, funds wise, there's this
right.
this spreading of the national TV gains.
Mm-hmm. The money that they profited from the TV broadcasting.
Yeah, the broadcasting rights, and the further up you are on the table, you finish in the league, the more funds you gain from that.
Okay.
So it should be at least 1 or 2 millions, I think, between the third and fourth place. So yeah,
this just beat the heck out of Hoffenheim.
And we will, I will show you why.
Oh, you tell us why.
And the other fact is, we are still on a record course.
Oh, true.
Yeah.
Best season ever.
We're now at 62 points, I think. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. 67 is the record so far.
67 is the record, so 71 are possible. So, okay, let's go for that. And Marco Rose could be the coach with the most wins, most single season wins. If we win 1 or 2 more, I have to look it up. I'm sorry, but I read about it as a fact.
Do you remind me? Were there ever any people who kind of suggested that he should leave the club? Did that ever happen?
Yeah, I heard those voices around the season, especially in January or in early February. Yeah,
some people even wanted to create some hashtags,
But I think we can clap ourselves on our backs, because we always believed in Marco. Marco from Taucher. Yeah, that's right.
Hey, but we also believed in Timo Werner, so I'm not sure.
Well, but now he's a star in the Premier League. He's a star at I think it's highly expected that he will go permanently to Tottenham.
I read different things, but that's a different story.
No, the coach is a fan of him. The manager is a fan of him, and just 18 million, or what's the amount of money? This is like, there is some famous bank manager in the mid-90s, and he told us this are peanuts. If it's not much money, it's peanuts.
A couple of millions, it's just
peanuts.
Okay, so what can we expect when we actually go to El Plastico, TSG Hoffenheim? I remember the game at Leipzig. I'm sorry. I remember the game at Leipzig. That was, Forsberg's grand farewell. That was pretty emotional, and I can still see it in front of my eyes. But this time it's totally different, isn't it? Because Hoffenheim still has some chance to qualify for international football, don't they?
True, yeah. Which is weird, totally weird in my opinion. And this shows how, how much this league is split into different tiers. Mm. So we talked about this earlier, the polarized league. And, the Kraichgauer had a pretty decent start into the season, with winning 6 out of the first 9 games, but since then only won 5 more. So they are now with 11 wins after 31 games and still in reach of international competition. Wow. This shouldn't be the case. Okay. Mm. But yeah, you're actually right. They are still just 1 point shy of SC Freiburg, who are placed 7th, ranked 7th right now. So yeah, it's quite something to win for the guys out of Hoffenheim. And but to be honest, this should not be a rough evening for RBL either, because 63 goals is the number I would like to emphasize. 63 goals allowed is the second to worst defense of the league. The only team that conceded more goals is Darmstadt with the 73.
Is that right? I didn't realize that.
Yeah,
wow.
I was surprised too if during my preparation to this match, and I think it has to do something with their with the defense, because it's not because of their goalkeeper.
No.
Their number one, Oliver Baumann, is, in my opinion, one of the best goalies in the league for years now. Although he conceded a career high 63 goals. But nevertheless, he made an astonishing 138 saves and leads the league in that value by far, and still is capable of managing a save percentage of 70.
So what does that suggest? He had the top-notch value of saves.
Yeah.
But
70% save percentage is mediocre, to be honest. But if you're getting outshot every game, nearly every single game, I think it's just logical that there are more balls into the back of the net.
Okay.
So that's your save percentage is just impossible to reach the number in the 75 or even higher percentage. Yeah. So it has to do something with the defense, I think. And if I look into their starting 11 from their last defeat, their away game at Bochum, they lost 3-2 and were down 3-0 during the game. They had their center back was Florian Grillitsch. And I thought, why? Because Florian Grillitsch is a well-known, is a well-experienced Bundesliga player. But in my recognition, my opinion, he is so much more strength in midfield, in either left midfield or defensive midfield. But I don't think that he is a decent center back. And next to him, in the center back as well, on his left side, there was this young guy, Tim Drexler, number 35. He just turned 19 a few weeks ago. And so there's, I think, and this is, of course, a huge mess in this defense. You have this maybe talented, just little young kid that will be overwhelmed by the strength and speed of our attackers. And then you have this number 11, Florian Grillitsch. I don't think that this defensive playing style fits to his strengths. And I don't know why Coach Matarazzo does this thing. Well, I'm not deep enough into this Hoffenheim squad, but in my opinion, John Brooks is the much more talented and much better defender. And we saw him in the Hinrunde, where he was in fact on the pitch for I think it was 90 minutes, and he did a decent job.
I agree.
Yeah. So I don't know. There must be something, but he tried, I think, different formations throughout the season and tried different personnel, and of course, isn't capable of finding a decent defense. I expect a game with a lot of goals. So if you're into betting, I'm not, and this is not a betting advice. If you're into betting, place some bets of RBL to score.
Okay.
Of course. So and but on the other hand side, I think their offense is quite okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. They got those talented strikers. Number 14, Maximilian Bayer, and the number 27, the veteran, Andrej Kramaric, and they scored 26 goals combined, which is quite okay. And, I'm a fan of Maxi Bayer. Number 14, very talented, very dangerous. I think, he had not the best evening in our first leg this year. So the goal was scored by, I think it was Kabak who scored the lonely goal, the equalizer, where Janis Blažević just flew under the ball or something like that. And but nevertheless, Maximilian Bayer is clearly in the upper tier and has so much upside potential. So we have to keep an eye on him. And Andre Kramaric is such an experienced player, and very, very high talented still, and capable of doing anything with the ball and with nice vision for his teammates. So we have to keep an eye on him. That could be dangerous. And so, what are we going to talk about the scoreline? Because there's only one result that will occur tomorrow night. You know what?
Okay. Are you going for a record here?
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure this game will end up in a 5-1. You know why?
For
RB, 5-1
you're going to tell us. You're going to tell us.
Yeah, now. Of course, because it's just as simple as that. It's Friday night. Friday night versus Stuttgart.
On.
Friday night versus Stuttgart. 5-1. Okay, and there was
Friday
just
night 5-1. Okay,
and there was just one other Friday night game. At Köln.
At Köln 5-1.
5-1. Okay. Yeah. So it's just as easy as that.
It's very logical.
Okay.
It's the same as your theory about those wins at Roter Stern Belgrade. And it was true. It did happen.
Yeah.
It was a full moon in November, I think.
Yeah, full moon in November, and Red Stars losing games. Now it's Friday night, and RBL is winning 5-1. Mark my words. If you're into betting, this is no betting advice. Maybe you should place 1 or 2 euros.
Disclaimer. I'm putting a disclaimer on. They always read the terms and conditions apply.
Yeah, of course.
Oh, God. Okay. I'm not so optimistic, but
yeah, I am. So because I told you I don't think the defense is a real strength of Hoffenheim, and our lads are on fire. They're just.
Do you think they still are, even though they have qualified now?
Yeah, because if you watched them most recently versus Dortmund, and I think it looked as if they would have so much fun together playing together.
I agree.
They're just big boys who are enjoying what they are doing best. What's their love?
The most obvious scene that we saw that they really enjoy playing that much and they really appreciate each other was the big celebration when VAR decided that goaltender was not offside and he actually equalized versus Borussia Dortmund. You should have seen how Xavi was running across the field, how Openda was celebrating, how everybody was so joyful. You're right. They have really gelled. And that puts a little tear into my eye because, to be honest, it's going to end pretty soon.
Oh, really? Do you expect that? No, I do expect Xavi to stay. And it's cool that we're now already qualified because that gives us so much better arguments for RBL for trying to convince the PSG club and the Xavi side to stay one more year. That's cool.
Well, let's discuss it some other times. Keep our fingers crossed. And let's enjoy potentially the last few games of Dani Olmo. I think he's likely to leave also. But anyway, I don't want to get in those discussions, but we're going to leave this for now. Let's just enjoy while it lasts. I'm going to go with a 3-1 win. We're still going to win, of course, but not 5-1. If it's 5-1, wow. I'm just going to plan to enjoy it. Brilliant. So who is going to actually make sure on the pitch that we're going to be 5-1 up after 90 minutes?
Liebe Fußballfans, wir kommen jetzt zu unserer heutigen Mannschaftsaufstellung. Wie immer beginnen wir mit unserem Torhüter, unser Mann mit der Rücke Nummer 1, Peter! Rücke Nummer 4, Willi! Mit der Nummer 7, Dani! Mit der Nummer 8, Amadou! Mit der Nummer 17, Louis! Rücke Nummer 20, Zah! Rücke Nummer 22, David! Mit der Nummer 23, Castello! Mit der Nummer 24, Xaver! Rücke Nummer Benjamin! Mit der Nummer 39, Benjamin!
I highly expect that Coach Rose trusts his trusted starting 11 from the most recent games, expect last game. But I think Shima Khan is slightly with a minor injury, had to be taken off the pitch. So I expect Hendricks to come back. So Gulacsi into the goal. By the way, my comeback player of the year. Hendricks, Orban, Lukiba, Raum, Schlager and Haidara, especially. I love Haidara.
Yeah.
In defensive midfield and our offensive department, of course. Xavi, Olmo, Shesko, and 24 goal scorer, Mr. Goal Panda.
It sounds like a powerful thing. Just going back to Haidara, I really picked it up on especially on Saturday as well, how fired up he was, and the tackles he won. And there was one seat, and it was in front of Sector D, where Lücke Füllkrug, the striker of Borussia Dortmund, was attempting to head the ball, do a header, but Haidara was there first, headed the ball away. Füllkrug fell down on the ground, and Haidara just told him what he thought of this little action. I don't think it was unfair. It was just in the heat of the moment. He was just fired up, and Füllkrug didn't complain. He didn't make anything of it. So very professional. Well done to him. But this reminded me of the scene. Remember when RB Leipzig won the cup title versus Freiburg, and Schlotterbeck, he supposedly fouled Simakor in their box. We couldn't see it because it was hidden from our view, but he was yelling down at him as well, same way. So that reminded me of that. But Haidara, gosh, he was on fire as well. Beautiful game. Anyway, yeah, so we're looking forward to this 5-1 win. I'm looking forward to it as well.
I will laugh my ass off if this is the end of 5-1.
It's because it's Friday night. Come on, it's Friday night and it happened twice. Come on. Anyway, this has been RBLE Global Tracks, our RB Leipzig podcast in English. Thanks everyone who has been listening to us. If you like our show, kindly subscribe to it on your favorite platform. You could also leave us a nice review. And you can get in touch with us via email. Our email address is talktous@rbleglobaltracks.com. You can find us on Twitter. Username is @podcast_RBL. Have yourselves a nice Friday, a beautiful weekend, and we'll be talking to you again next week. And Richard, thank you very much. All we need to say now is, auf geht's, Leipziger Jungs.